Today I effed up by having my devout Muslim parents find my alcohol stash. Oh boy, here we go. I made a big oops. I knew it as soon as I received a text from my dad while I was at work earlier today, saying, "Tell your boss you're going to be late tomorrow for a family emergency. We have important family business to do in the morning. My parents know my job is very important and wouldn't do anything to jeopardize it. So my dad telling me to lie to my boss made me realize that something big is going down. Needless to say, I couldn't focus much on my work for the rest of the day. I texted my dad asking what happened, but he wouldn't answer. Just to preface, my family, particularly my parents, are very strict South Asian Muslims. They follow the religion devoutly, and there are some sins to them that are absolutely unforgivable. The big ones, besides, obviously not murdering someone, being don't eat pork, don't drink alcohol, and don't have premarital intimate relations. Now, I shall also preface by saying that I am, in no way, religious. I moved home recently after living on campus for college, where I happily lived a double life. I spread my wings, ended up loving alcohol, and did a bunch of other fun, sinful things. Now, I knew when I moved home that this kind of fun would need to end, or at least need to be done with the utmost secrecy. But I'm an effing idiot. I bought a 6-pack of Mike's last time when I was at the grocery shop, smuggled it home, hid it in a corner of my wardrobe, the same corner where I hid an old male friend's clothes that I forgot to return. Remember that rule I mentioned saying, no X? Well, there's not many things they could have thought when they saw those basketball shorts and undershirt. Anyways, while I was at work today, my mother took the pleasure of organizing and cleaning my room, which, lucky for me, included my wardrobe. Holy effing hell, not only did they find my alcohol stash, they also found a boy's shirt and shorts. I'm done for. My mother pretended nothing happened when I walked in the door after work, and I haven't left my room since I'd gotten home. I can only think of this going 3 ways when they confront me tomorrow morning. 1. I'm getting kicked out. 2. They're bringing an MM to perform an exorcism on me since I'm clearly possessed by Satan. Or 3. They're planning on buying me a one-way ticket to their home country so that I could learn a few things from the good religious girls there. Whichever way this goes, I'm absolutely effed. I'm freshly out of college and haven't saved enough to find a place of my own. Not that I had anticipated either. My parents expect me to live with them until I'm married. The idea of living on my own is, to them, unthinkable. I guess I won't really know what's going to happen until tomorrow morning. Suffice to say, I won't be getting any sleep tonight. Update. Alright folks, it's around 8 a.m. here and I know everyone's dying for an update. So apparently, all the stress from last night made my brain go into hyperdrive and tire itself out, and I actually got some sleep. Sometime last night my mom came in to let me know to make sure I get up on time, that my dad's taking her and I somewhere. I guess I'll find out in a few. Thanks for the help so far, y'all. I'm reading all the comments and messages, and you guys are all so amazing. I'll keep you updated as things unfold. Alright, update 2. My dad took my sister to school this morning, so I took that opportunity to dip. My mom asked me where I was going, as I was supposed to go to work later today, but I'm an effing coward, so I left. Took a change of clothes just in case I decide to bunk with a friend tonight. My parents do love me, but they're strict. Love me enough that they wouldn't put my life in jeopardy, but strict enough that they will do what it takes to keep me on what they believe is the right path. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I can't run forever, but I also don't want to be late for work. Hell, if I get kicked out, the last thing I need is to be unemployed too. I'm sitting in a parking lot right now deciding if I should just drive back home and talk to them now or keep avoiding as long as possible. By not talking to them, I'm kind of hoping that they see that I won't easily bend to their will, that they'll have to reach an understanding with me rather than expecting me to follow what they say blindly. This probably isn't the update you guys were hoping for, but I'm apparently good at disappointing people, haha. Update 3. My parents kept calling me. I guess they're worried. They're super overprotective, if you couldn't tell, and I've called a whole bunch of times, texted too. My dad texted me to come home, so I texted both him and my mom separately saying, I don't know where you want to take me, but mom said we're going somewhere. I'm not going, to which my dad responded, we're not going anywhere, just come home. He also left me voicemails saying to come home. Didn't sound mad at all, more apologetic than anything, if I'm being honest. I love my dad, we have a great relationship, and I effed it all up by disrespecting their values in their own house. I feel awful. Anyways, I'm not here to whine. I'm going to work. If I decide to come back home tonight, I'll speak to them. Who knows what's happened? Before I begin the fourth update, I need to clear a few things up. I know that Muslim extremists exist. I'd be an idiot if I denied it. But so do extremists of other religions. Devout does not equal extremist. My parents would never send me to my death, for everyone who was worried about an honor killing happening. They're afraid of even the slightest conflict. I've had people in my family sent to live in the motherland for a few months to learn the old ways, that's about it. As I mentioned in my original post, my parents love me. They wouldn't kill me. Jesus, guys. Basically, what I'm saying is that honor killings are conducted by extremists. My family is religious, not extreme. I'm going to live. Chill. Also, I really appreciate all the hints / helps / tips / etc. I'm still in disbelief that so many people have offered me a place to stay, and others with such helpful and lovely messages. You guys rock. The world isn't so bad after all. Now the update. So one part that I forgot to mention in the updates on the original post was that I zoomed out of the house as quickly as I could because it turns out that my mom not only found my alcohol stash, but also a few condoms. After she found my alcohol, I guess she went through the rest of my stuff and dug deep, real deep. I mean that S was hidden in Hades' rectum, to uncover all my sinful secrets. Now, before everyone starts calling me a dowdy, and I happen to get a good number of people messaging me, calling me exactly that, those condoms have been in my bag for ages. My college had their annual involvement fair, and our health services department threw them around like candy. Lady at the booth tossed me a few. Never know when you'll need 'em, she told me. Anyway, it wasn't until this morning that I found out that she found the condoms. They weren't where I had hidden them, and that's when I panicked. I had to leave the house. Alcohol's one thing, but X is a whole different ballgame. No thanks. As I mentioned before, my parents called me a bunch of times before I finally called back. The last straw was when my mom called my workplace asking to be transferred to me. She got me. I hung up on her and called her from my cell phone. I caved, went home. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have been able to focus at work. Told my boss my parents were spam calling me and I really needed to get home, and that I'd be right back. Fortunately, she was more than understanding. Cut to me arriving home. My parents are sitting at the kitchen table. My dad staring into his coffee, leaning on his hand. My heart dropped to my stomach. I feel like absolute garbage for disappointing him. Mom was trying to diffuse the tension by making small talk. Dad went to the room to lay down. He couldn't even look at me, which sadly worked out because I couldn't bear to face him. It broke my heart knowing that I permanently messed up our relationship. I sat down with my mom. She didn't waste a second getting right to it. I want you to be clear and honest with me. I'm your mother, and I can tell if you're lying, so please just don't hide anymore. Her voice was quivering as she said this, which threw me off guard. I promised I would, which I didn't, which in turn made me feel terrible. But it's better than what would have gone down if I had been honest. Are you seeing anyone? From work or from college? No mention of the alcohol yet. Like I said, X is a whole different ballgame. Anyways, I told her no, I wasn't. I explained to her exactly where I got those condoms from, booth lady, and played dumb. I didn't know how to dispose of those things, and I figured you'd think something if you had seen them in the trash. So I just hid them in my bag because I didn't know what else to do with them. A whole lot of playing dumb and convincing her that I would never let a man touch me occurred before she believed me. She was holding her breath this whole time, and as soon as I explained myself, she broke down. I can forgive you for the alcohol, but the most important thing for us women is keeping our bodies pure and keeping away from bad men. In my head, I rolled my eyes, but I also needed her to believe me, so I feigned being offended that she didn't think that I believed the same thing as her. The alcohol was mentioned next. I had to come semi-clean about this. I knew I couldn't expect all-around wins. I explained to her that while I was packing to move out last semester, my old roommate gave me the 6-pack since she didn't like it, and yes, it was black cherry. There was one bottle gone. I told her I just wanted to try it, that I was surrounded by people drinking all the time, so I wanted to see what the hype was all about, but that it was stupid of me to do so. I apologized for disrespecting both her and my dad in their own house, as they're the ones who've raised me, taken care of me, fed me, and kept a roof over my head. This I genuinely meant. I apologized for disappointing them. The clothes were explained as me finding them in the laundry room at college last semester, and I decided just to keep them, for the hell of it. Somehow she believed it. I won't question it. A little bit of lecturing naturally occurred. She mentioned being disappointed, and I cried a little, partly because of relief, and partly because I felt bad. I don't know what would have happened if I had been completely honest. I'm just glad that my explanations were believable. At the end of the day, this was a FU that happened because I'm an effing idiot. It was only a matter of time until I got caught. I knew I'd have to find a different hiding place for those things, but I never got around to it. I won't make any excuses for my dumb effery. Note: everyone saying the real FU was getting caught with mics of all things is absolutely correct. Couldn't I have been caught with a bottle of Grey Goose at least? Note 2, I'm Bangladeshi for all of those who were curious. Dunno why everyone assumed I was Pakistani. Note 3, I'm surprised as to how so many people thought I was a guy. All those comments/messages gave me a good chuckle. Ha.